You may think love is made of grand gestures, fireworks, and promises shouted beneath the stars, but most of a woman's heart is held together by the small things you do when no one is watching. Pause. The quiet tone you choose when you're frustrated, the patience you show when she's scared, the respect in your eyes when you disagree. Those are the stitches that hold the fabric together. Pull at them carelessly, and the whole thing can unravel before you even realize you tugged. Let me say this clearly. Every word you speak and every action you take carries weight. It can be medicine or it can be poison. Beat. You don't get to decide whether it lands softly or breaks her open. You only get to decide what you send out. And once released, it lives in her, echoing in her chest, altering the way she breathes, the way she trusts, the way she opens the door to you at the end of a long day. We often romanticize strength as loudness, dominance, or quick answers. But in love, strength is gentleness under pressure. Strength is choosing restraint when your pride begs to shout. Strength is keeping your promise when it's inconvenient, staying present when your mind wants to flee, and repairing what you broke even when your ego tells you to leave it there and walk away. A woman's heart is not weak, it's tuned. It hears what you say and also what you don't. It notices when your words and your behavior don't match. It senses when your apology is an escape route, not a bridge. Her heart listens for consistency, and it knows the difference between charm and character. Softly, if you make her feel small to make yourself feel big, understand this. You are shrinking the very love you claim you're trying to keep. Words linger longer than we think. A careless joke about her body, a sarcastic remark about her dreams, a sigh that says, "You're too much," when she tells you what's heavy on her chest. Those moments don't end when the conversation does. They travel with her. They ride along to work. They sit at the edge of the bed when the lights go out. They write questions in the margins of her confidence. Am I enough? Am I safe here? Am I loved or tolerated? Pause. Picture this. She's washing dishes after a long day. You're scrolling, tired, irritated about something that isn't even her fault. She says, "Can you help?" And you, without even looking up, fire back, "I work hard all day. Why are you nagging me?" The plate doesn't shatter in the sink, but something does. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. A fine crack appears in a place you cannot see. You'll forget the comment by tomorrow. She won't. Because it didn't just say, "I'm tired," it said, "You are a burden." Now imagine the opposite. Same scene. She asks, "Can you help?" You put your phone down, step beside her, hand in the water, and say, "Yeah, babe, I got you." Beat that one line, "I got you," builds more trust than a dozen speeches. Love is most convincing where it is most ordinary. There's a particular cruelty in public disrespect. When you cut her down in front of friends, family, or strangers, you turn her into a spectacle. Even if you didn't mean it, her body remembers the humiliation. She learns not only to lower her expectations, but to lower her gaze. She learns to avoid bringing you into spaces that should have been shared. And on the days you demand intimacy, you'll wonder why she flinches away from your hands. Gentle. It's not that she doesn't want you, it's that she doesn't feel safe with you. Safety is not just the absence of fear, it is the presence of care. It is the comfort of knowing that even on your worst day, you won't weaponize your anger, your silence, or your sarcasm. That's the vow you make without a ring, the promise you keep without an audience. I will not turn my darkness into your prison. Anger is not the enemy. Unmanaged anger is. In the heat of an argument, your nervous system screams at you to defend, to attack, to win. Winning is a cheap goal. The real aim is repair. Slow. Take a breath so deep your ribs move. Count backward from 5. Keep your voice low. Lower men raise their volume. Higher men raise their standards. Ask yourself in the space of one heartbeat, do I want to be right or do I want to be close? And if the answer is close, then choose the words that build a bridge, not a wall. There is a temptation to treat apologies as magic wands. Say sorry, and it's fixed, right? No. An apology without changed behavior is not a Band-Aid. It's salt. It stings the wound you created and calls it healing. Real apology sounds like responsibility. I did this. It hurt you. I understand why it hurt. Here is how I will make sure it doesn't happen again. Then you do the work. quietly, consistently, without asking for applause. You cannot out-talk a pattern. You cannot out-charm a habit. She does not need a poet when she needs a partner. Bring her consistency, not speeches. Bring her small, faithful acts that say, "This is not a performance, this is my character." Let's talk about trust. Trust is built slowly with tiny deposits, showing up on time, remembering the detail she mentioned in passing, keeping confidences, respecting boundaries you don't fully understand yet. Beat, and trust is broken quickly by what you think is small. The flirty DM you delete, the white lie that saves you 10 minutes but costs her 3 months of peace. The way you keep your phone face down and call it privacy when it's really secrecy. Privacy has doors. Secrecy has locks. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear from transparency. That doesn't mean surrender your individuality. It means you refuse to create shadows where doubt can multiply. If she asks a hard question, answer it. If she needs reassurance, offer it. If she says a boundary out loud, honor it even when you don't agree. Boundaries are not walls against you. They are fences around what she cherishes. Respecting them is how you get invited deeper into the garden. There is a loneliness that grows inside a woman who is partnered but not held. She stands beside you at dinner with a smile that never quite reaches her eyes because she is practicing being easy to love by asking for less and less. She learns the choreography of walking on eggshells so gracefully that you call it peace. It is not peace. It is survival. And survival is a terrible place to plant your future. Sometimes the wound isn't loud. It's in the slow erosion of delight. She stops sharing stories because you always interrupt. She stops dressing up because you stop noticing. She stops asking for help because every request is met with a sigh. She stops initiating affection because rejection taught her to shrink. And one day, you look across the room, and the woman you love is still there, but her light is not. You didn't lose her in one storm. You lost her in 1,000 drizzles you called not a big deal. Here is a vow worth making. I will be easy to be loved by, not because I hide my flaws, but because I manage them like an adult. That means you keep your voice measured. You keep your promises visible. You clean up your emotional messes without using her as the mop. If you've hurt her, intentionally or not, begin with silence. Not the cold kind, not the punishing kind. The kind where you let her speak first. Don't fix, don't defend. Don't say, "I'm sorry you feel that way." Say, "I'm sorry I did that." Then ask, "What do you need to feel safer with me again?" Listen for requests that sound like behaviors. I need you to text when you're running late. I need you to stop making jokes about my body. I need you to be honest about money, softly. These are not demands. They are doors back into her trust. You don't need perfection to heal a relationship. You need direction, a trajectory she can feel. Rebuilding trust is not a cinematic montage. It's showing up on Tuesday when you're tired. It's writing the reminder on your phone because her needs are important enough to remember. It's catching yourself mid-eye roll and choosing softness. It's setting down your defensiveness and picking up her hand. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who prided himself on being brutally honest. He wore it like a medal. He told his girlfriend exactly what he thought about her outfit, her job, her friends, brutally. One night after a dinner where he joked about her new project, she went silent. Later she whispered, "Your honesty doesn't feel like truth. It feels like contempt dressed in courage." Pause. He realized then that brutality is not a virtue. Honesty is not a license to harm. Truth without tenderness is a weapon. He learned to be kindly honest, to tell the truth as if he wanted her to bloom, not bleed. The relationship didn't just survive, it deepened. Because she felt safe hearing him, she could finally hear him. Another story. A woman kept saying she needed more time together that was undistracted. He nodded, said of course, and then let work swallow him whole. One Saturday, she found a note on the kitchen table. "Phone's off. You and me, 2 hours. I'm all yours." There was no bouquet, no reservation, just presence. They made pancakes. They danced badly in the living room. They laughed like conspirators. The relationship didn't become easier. It became real again. Because time is love spelled in minutes. When you've hurt her, don't ask her to get over it. Ask yourself to go through it with her. That means sitting in the discomfort of the conversation you're desperate to escape. That means answering questions you wish she wouldn't ask. That means letting her see you work, not just wish. Healing is not linear. There will be days when you feel like you're back at the beginning. You're not. You're learning how to stay when it's not easy. And that's the muscle that holds love together. Slow, deliberate. There is a particular tenderness in being the kind of man who protects his woman from his own storms. You cannot control every thundercloud in your head, but you can control whether you open the window and let it drench her. Step outside. Take the walk. Count to 100. Text, "I'm overwhelmed. I love you. I'm going to cool down," and then come back to talk. That is not weakness. That is leadership. Physical affection means little when emotional safety is absent. You cannot touch what you keep wounding. Intimacy is not a reward for good behavior. It is the natural fruit of trust. Build trust, and closeness will come to meet you like dawn. Betray trust, and no amount of flowers or dinners or vacations will buy back what your choices spent. Some of you believe you're just not emotional. Understand this. Being emotionally unavailable is not a personality. It's a pattern, and patterns can change. You can learn how to name what you feel. You can learn how to hear her feelings without treating them as accusations. You can learn to say, "I'm scared," instead of starting a fight. You can learn to say, "I don't know how to fix this yet, but I'm here." That sentence alone has saved more relationships than "I love you," said in a panic after a blow-up. Let's talk about jealousy and loyalty. Loyalty is not only the absence of cheating, it's the absence of opportunities you keep alive just in case. If you are keeping a door open in your DMs, a weak link to an old flame, a friend you flirt with for ego points, close it. Not because she's insecure, but because you are committed. Commitment means removing the plan B that you pretend isn't there. You may believe that because she stayed after you hurt her, the damage wasn't that bad. Hear me. The strongest women often stay the longest, not because they don't feel pain, but because they believe in repair. Do not mistake her endurance for indifference. She is fighting for the love you share, but she is not obligated to fight forever. Your window for change is not infinite. Respect her patience by not abusing it. Pause, softer. There's a scene I want you to imagine, the night after a hard argument. The house is quiet. You find her on the couch, eyes tired, blanket tucked under her chin. You don't know if you should sit. You don't know if you should speak. Start here. Kneel if you need to. Keep your voice low. "I'm here. I want to understand. I won't defend myself while you're telling me your pain." Then shut up and honor that promise. Do not rush her grief because you're uncomfortable. The fastest way to lengthen her healing is to rush it. When she tells you how you hurt her, she's not trying to punish you. She's trying to trust you with the truth. Handle it like a sacred thing. Handle it like someone gave you a glass heart and said, "Please carry this back to me," without letting it fall. This is the real work, not the anniversary dinner, not the curated vacation photos. This, the unglamorous, holy work of owning your shadow and refusing to let it own your relationship. Your tone matters more than your text. The sentence, "What's wrong?" can be an accusation or an invitation, depending on how you say it. Speak as if you are trying to be understood, not as if you are trying to win. Winning creates losers, and losers don't make lovers. When you feel yourself escalating, lower your volume. When you want to make the cutting joke, don't. When you want to weaponize silence, don't. Choose the harder right over the easier wrong. If you are carrying old wounds from your childhood, name them. Not to excuse your behavior, but to explain why you're building new behavior. If your father yelled, be the man who breaks that inheritance. If your model of love taught you that control equals care, unlearn it. Love is not possession. Love is protection. Love guards dignity. Love leaves room. Love gives the benefit of the doubt and asks for clarity, not blood. There's another scene. She comes to you excited about a dream that sounds impossible. Maybe it's a career change, a class, a trip. You could laugh. You could list every reason it won't work. Or you could become her co-architect. You could say, let's sketch it, let's budget, let's plan. Your belief becomes a wind at her back. And when she says, I can't, you say, we can. You don't have to carry the whole load, you only have to carry with her. If she doesn't have to choose between love and ambition, she will never have to choose between love and herself. Men often ask, what do women want? I will not pretend to speak for all women, but I will tell you what love requires. Presence, respect, responsibility, curiosity, tenderness, and follow-through. None of those require a six-pack, a sports car, or a bank account that pretends to be a soul. They require a decision. I will be somebody she can count on. If you have broken trust, understand the difference between access and entitlement. You are not entitled to her immediate forgiveness. You are not entitled to the old access to her body, her phone, her schedule, her laughter. You earn access by becoming trustworthy again. That may take time. That may mean you accept her no with humility instead of pressure. That may mean you let her set the pace of reconnection and you match it without sulking. Firm, steady. Do not confuse her boundaries with bitterness. Do not confuse her caution with cruelty. She is not punishing you by needing time. She is protecting the part of herself that still wants to choose you. Make that choice easier by being a man she can safely choose. When she cries, don't fix the tears, hold them. When she goes quiet, don't accuse, ask. When she's angry, don't retaliate, reassure. When she's distant, don't chase with panic, reach with consistency. The way you respond to her most difficult emotions determines how deeply she will trust you with her most tender ones. Some days, love will feel like fireworks. Most days, it will feel like keeping your word. The mundane is where intimacy is made. The way you greet her when you walk through the door. The way you say goodnight when you're tempted to roll over and scroll. The way you catch her eye across a room full of noise and send a look that says, "You are my calm." Ordinary faithfulness is anything but ordinary. It is the infrastructure of forever. If your pride is louder than your love, you will always choose distance over closeness. Pride says, "I'm fine." Love says, "I'm learning." Pride says, "You're overreacting." Love says, "Help me understand." Pride keeps score. Love keeps promises. Pause. The scoreboard doesn't belong in your living room. Put it down. Pick each other up. You want a relationship that's unbreakable? Make repair your superpower. Not avoidance, not perfection. Repair. Catch the small drift at 2 degrees before it becomes 2 different lives. We feel off. Can we reset? Become fluent in these sentences. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I love you. Here's how I'll do better. And then, importantly, do better. Never use her vulnerabilities as ammunition. If she told you about her insecurities, do not bring them up mid-fight to win a point. That victory is a loss you will feel for months. Protect what she tells you in the dark. Guard it fiercely. That is where trust grows roots. She is not asking you to be superhuman. She is asking you to be consistent. She is asking you to be the same man in private that you appear to be in public. She is asking you to match your promises with practices. She is asking you to choose her on purpose again and again and again. You can change the way you love today, not by buying something, not by posting something, but by becoming different. Put the phone away at dinner. Look at her when she speaks. Say thank you for ordinary things. Compliment her without expecting anything in return. Ask how her soul is, not just how her day was. Tell her what you admire about her when nothing is wrong. Notice her effort. Notice her silence. Notice her. And if you've come to the point where you did break something serious, betrayal, lies, disrespect, this is the path forward. Full honesty, professional help if needed, and patience that doesn't expire. Don't tell her to get over it. Invite her to go through it with you, step by step. Earn the right to be loved by becoming loving. I want to give you a moment, right now, to picture her. The way she laughs when she forgets to be careful. The way her eyes soften when you're gentle. The way her hand fits in yours like the world is less dangerous when your fingers are laced. Remember the first time you realized she was not just any person. She was your person. Hold that memory like a lantern. Let it guide you back to your better self. Because here is the truth. You cannot keep the woman you love by keeping your bad habits. You keep her by keeping your word. You keep her by keeping your temper. You keep her by keeping your eyes on what matters. The life you are building together, brick by brick, choice by choice. Quiet intensity. Never hurt your girlfriend. Do not make her your outlet for frustration or your target for jokes that hit bone. Do not act as if her love is guaranteed, as if her kindness is an infinite well you can draw from without pouring anything back. Respect is not the price of admission. It is the atmosphere she breathes when she's with you. Make it clean, make it warm, make it safe. Love her the way that heals, with steady hands and a softer voice. Love her the way that builds, with daily effort and patient eyes. Love her the way that frees, with trust that lets her be as big as her dreams. If you do, you will not only change her life, you will change yours. You will become the kind of man who can hold a love that lasts. And if you're listening to this thinking, I've already done too much damage, hear me. Redemption is possible, but it is not cheap. You pay for it with humility, with time, with action repeated until it becomes identity. You pay for it by becoming the man you should have been when she first chose you. You pay for it by choosing her now, without shortcuts, without conditions, without keeping score. Pause, soften. If she stays, treasure her. If she needs space, honor it. If she needs answers, give them. If she needs time, wait without punishment. If she needs proof, provide it with your life. This is how love grows back. Not with promises alone, but with proof that doesn't need words. When in doubt, return to this question. Does this choice make her feel more safe, more seen, more cherished? If the answer is no, don't do it. If the answer is yes, do it twice. And if you're not sure, ask her. Clarity is kindness. Assumptions are landmines. There will be days when you fail, when you say the wrong thing, when you forget, when you let stress talk for you. On those days, move quickly to repair. Name it, apologize, adjust. Don't let a small crack grow into a canyon. Don't let silence harden into distance. Every hour you wait is a brick in a wall you will later have to tear down with your bare hands. This is your invitation. Be the man whose love leaves no bruises and no doubts. The man whose presence calms storms, not causes them. The man she can brag about, not because he's perfect, but because he is kind. The man who meets her tenderness with strength and her strength with admiration. The man who says, "You are safe with me," and then proves it every day in ways big and small. So when you speak, speak life. When you act, act with care. When you touch, touch with reverence. When you promise, promise with a plan. When you fail, fail forward into repair. When you love, love like it's your greatest work, because it is. Keep choosing her. Keep choosing patience. Keep choosing transparency. Keep choosing to close the doors behind you so temptation cannot wander into your home. Keep choosing to build a future where her laughter is frequent and her shoulders are relaxed, and her trust is not something you beg for, it is something you maintain. And never forget, the measure of a man in a relationship is not how loudly he declares love, but how quietly he practices it when no one else is looking. And if you choose to stay, if you choose to be the kind of man whose love is a shelter, not a storm, then start where love is most believable, in your rituals, not the grand occasions, the everyday ones. The morning check-in, where your first words aren't about the weather, but about her heart. The text me when you arrive that isn't control, it's care. The kiss on the forehead that says, "You can rest near me. Your softness is safe here." Pause. Rituals teach the nervous system to relax. Rituals tell the body, we are loved consistently without guesswork. There is a language only steadiness can speak. When she learns that even after a long day you still find her eyes first, that even when you are late you still announce it with respect, that even when you are hurt you refuse to wound, that is when the walls in her chest begin to lower like a drawbridge returning to welcome. She will not need to armor up against the person who keeps proving he is her armor. Satyus. And the miracle is ordinary. You at the sink with soap on your hands. You at the door with patience on your lips. You at her side with presence in your eyes. Let me give you a simple frame to hold on to when emotions are high. 4 rooms in the house of love. Truth, tenderness, responsibility, repair. Walk through them in order. Beat. Step into truth. This happened. I did this. These were my intentions and these were my impacts. No fog, no word games, no half-light where suspicion breeds, clear even if it scares you. Step into tenderness. Your feelings make sense to me. If I were you, I might feel the same. You can disagree with her conclusions and still validate her experience. Tenderness doesn't require you to surrender your mind. It requires you to open your heart. Step into responsibility. Here is what I own. Here is what I will change. Not, I'm sorry you felt hurt, but I'm sorry I hurt you. The first centers your comfort. The second centers her healing. Step into repair. Concrete, visible adjustments that can be felt in the room. A changed password isn't repair if secrecy is the real problem. Leaving the party early isn't repair if disrespect toward her boundaries is the real problem. Fix the root, not the optics. Repair is when she doesn't have to look for evidence because it keeps finding her. And when you backslide, and you will, because you are a person, not a script, return to the rooms. Truth, tenderness, responsibility, repair. Walk them like a lit path home. There's a difference between a fight that drains love and a conflict that deepens it. The difference isn't the topic, it's the tone. In draining fights, the goal is victory. In deepening conflicts, the goal is understanding. Say this out loud before the hard talk begins. We're on the same team. It will feel corny until it feels like oxygen. Promise 2 rules and keep them like law. No name-calling, no rewriting history. If either of you breaks the rules, call a timeout like you would in a playoff game, not to quit, but to protect the game. Gentle. When you return, return slowly. Sit closer than you want to. Uncross your arms. Lower your shoulders. Our bodies can apologize before our words do. I want you to picture a moment you'll live many times. Her voice quivers, and she says, "When you said that, I felt small. There is a fork in the road right there. Defense sounds like, I didn't mean it. Love sounds like, I hear you. I can see how that made you feel small. I won't do that again." One sentence invites trust to sit down. The other invites it to pack a bag. Beat meanings matter, yes, but impacts are what she carries to bed. Let me tell you about Mason and Elena. He'd been careless with sarcasm. She had become careful with dreams. He thought her silence was distance. It was self-protection. One evening he came home with no flowers and no speech, just a small notebook. On the cover he wrote, "How to Love Elena, a Field Guide, by Mason." Inside were notes he'd gathered like seeds. When she's overwhelmed, hold her hand before you hold the solution. Compliment, specific plus sincere. If I'm late, text as soon as I know, not when I'm already late. He didn't announce growth. He practiced it. Weeks later, Elena said, "I feel like you've been listening to my heart on a frequency I didn't think you could hear." Soft laugh. He said, "I just changed the station." Their love didn't become perfect. It became possible again. There is a special cruelty in promising change and then relying on her hope to carry all the weight. Don't do that. Hope is not a forklift. Bring your own strength. Steady, set reminders if you must. Ask a friend to hold you accountable. Schedule the counseling. Read the book and then live the chapters. You can rewire a habit. You can rewrite a story. You can turn a trigger into a teacher. It isn't magic. It's repetition powered by love. Now, jealousy. Jealousy is a smoke alarm. It doesn't always mean there's a fire, but it never goes off for no reason. Do not smash the alarm. Go check the kitchen. If she's uneasy about someone in your orbit, don't call her crazy. Call her worth listening to. Walk her through your contact list if you need to. Not because she owns you, but because you cherish the U.S. more than the me. If keeping an old doorway cracked feeds doubt, close it. Not to prove you can't tempt fate, but to show you refuse to invite it. Loyalty isn't only whom you kiss. It's where you let your attention linger when she's not in the room. Social media has turned attention into a currency and temptation into a marketplace. Be wiser than the algorithm. If a like is harmless but the pattern is harmful, change the pattern. If a message is innocent but the secrecy is not, change the secrecy into clarity. Privacy has doors, secrecy has locks. Keep doors, remove locks, let the light in. Doubt starves in daylight. And if lines have already been crossed, if trust is not just bruised but broken, then the path is narrow but real. Full disclosure, not selective confession. Answer the questions you pray she won't ask. Volunteer information, don't make her mind for it. Expect setbacks. The day she smiles at breakfast might be followed by the night she cries in the hallway because a memory ambushed her. Softly, do not say, We're still on this? Say, I'm still on you. I'm not going anywhere. Betrayal is not a cliff you climb once. It's a slope you ascend together, step by step, breath by breath, until the air is thin and clean again. Let me offer you a simple repair practice, the 5-minute bridge. It's not therapy, it's daily love hygiene. Every evening, phones away, timers on, 5 minutes each. She speaks, you reflect. What mattered to you today? Where did I miss you? Where did you feel loved? Then switch. No interrupting, no defending, no fixing, just presence. 5 minutes is short enough to be sustainable and long enough to change a week. Watch how small misunderstandings die before they grow teeth. Sometimes she doesn't need a solution. She needs a witness. Be that witness. When she tells you about the friend who disappointed her or the meeting that crushed her confidence, resist the urge to hunt the villain and slay it with logic. Sit with her in the feeling. Say, that sounds heavy. I'm with you. Then ask, do you want comfort or a plan? Gentle smile. If she says comfort, give it. If she says plan, build it together. When you get good at this, you'll find that comfort is often the plan. Remember the 3 C's of safety: calm, clean, clear. Keep your calm. Regulate yourself before you regulate the room. Keep your clean. No cheap shots, no dragging old skeletons into new conversations, no scoring points with sacred secrets. Keep your clear, say what you mean, and mean what you say. Nothing grows in the fog except fear. Some of you carry childhood ghosts, the slammed door, the long silence, the plate shattering in the sink. You swore you'd be different, and then stress arrived in a new outfit, and you found yourself rehearsing the old script. Steady, compassionate. Forgive yourself for learning survival. Do not forgive yourself for refusing to unlearn it. Take ownership. Get help. When you break a generational pattern, your relationship feels it today, and your future family will thank you tomorrow for the storm you chose to end. There's a moment I wish for you, the night you catch yourself before the words leave your mouth, the old sharp ones polished by pride, and you choose silence, breathe, and then choose softness. She notices. She may not call it a miracle, but her shoulders drop. Her eyes say what her lips don't. Thank you. We talk a lot about the power of a man's roar. We forget the power of his gentle restraint. Love is not surveillance. Love is attunement. You are not a guard on a watchtower. You are a gardener tending the soil. And soil does not bloom under suspicion. It blooms under sun and water and time. Ask questions because you're curious, not controlling. Offer reassurance because you want to, not because you're cornered. Make fidelity your default, not your performance. You want to make her feel beautiful? Admire her when no one else is watching. Tell her she's captivating on the days sweatpants win and mascara loses. Study her the way you studied your first passion. Committed, attentive, delighted by nuance. Notice the way she tells stories with her hands, the tiny crease at the corner of her left eye when she's about to laugh, the bravery it takes to love you with her whole chest, even after life taught her to hold back. Your devotion is a mirror. Let it reflect a woman who remembers her own radiance. I will tell you a secret about apologies. The most healing part is not the word sorry. It's the specificity. I'm sorry I dismissed your idea. I'm sorry I broke our agreement and didn't text. I'm sorry my tone made you feel like you were the problem when you were asking for connection. Specificity says, I was there. I saw the moment I became less than the man you deserve. And then there is the aftercare. Is there anything I can do now to help your nervous system trust me again? This is not theatrics. This is reparenting your reactions and offering her the fruit of your growth. There are men who think tenderness makes them smaller. They are mistaken. Tenderness is precision. Tenderness is strength with a steady hand. Tenderness is how you hold power without letting it hurt what is soft. Pause. The bravest men I know cry when they need to, apologize when they must, protect without possessing, and love without ledger books. If you keep score, love will feel like a courtroom. If you keep promises, love will feel like a home. Choose your building, lay your bricks. Your habits are masonry. Let's talk future, not the Instagram goals, the actual architecture. Where will your love be strongest, and where is it most fragile? Do a quarterly check together like you would with a business you care about, Russ. What's working? What needs repair? What are we excited to build next? Put a calendar reminder on your phone. Take it seriously. Make it light. Bring snacks. Dream out loud. Fear shrinks when you bring it into well-lit rooms. And yes, be playful. Joy is a form of intimacy. Inside jokes, ridiculous dances in the kitchen, funny nicknames that only make sense to you two. These are not trivial. They're glue. Sometimes the most sacred work you'll do is to make her laugh on a day that tried to break her. Laughter says, "We remember how to live here." Now, for the men who have already lost her, maybe for a season, maybe for good, I will not sell you false hope. You may not get her back, but that doesn't mean you can't become the man you wish she had met. Soft, become him anyway. For the next love, for your future children, for your own peace. Who you become is the one thing no one can take from you. If she ever looks back, let her see a man who honored her absence by upgrading his presence everywhere he goes. Firm, compassionate. For those who are still together but hanging by threads, hear this. It is never too late to do the next right thing. The next right breath, the next right apology, the next right boundary, the next right appointment with a counselor who can translate what your fear turns into volume. You do not need 1,000 steps. You need one, and then another, and then a Tuesday where you remember the 5-minute bridge, and then a Thursday where you leave your phone in another room and listen like you're learning your favorite song again. And then a Saturday morning where you bring her coffee and say, "I want to be better at loving you. I'm practicing." That sentence alone changes the air. If there is a mantra for the men who want to love well, let it be this. Less defense, more presence, less winning, more understanding, less performative promise, more practice proof. Repeat it until it lives in your bones. I want you to write her a letter, not a performance, a witness on paper. Start with, "Here is what I love about who you are that has nothing to do with me." Then, "Here is what I've done that made loving me harder." Then, "Here is who I am becoming on purpose." Keep it short, keep it true. Put a stamp on it even if you hand it to her across the table. Something about paper slows the world down and makes words weigh what they should. And if words are not your native language, let your hands speak. Fix the loose hinge she mentioned 6 months ago. Book the dentist appointment she's been avoiding. Wash the car without being asked. Cover the bill when she's carrying too much. Protection isn't only about danger. Sometimes it's about burdens. Take one off her back without a speech. She will notice. Her body will notice. Safety grows in the soil of felt support. Softly reverent. Never hurt your girlfriend. Do not leave fingerprints on her psyche that years have to scrub. Do not turn her softness into a battlefield where you plant flags of victory. Turn yourself into a place where her strength can rest and her tenderness can dance. Love her in a way that heals, with daily gentleness, with consistent truth, with repair that doesn't require applause. Love her in a way that builds, with structure, with habits, with fences that keep predators out and let gardens bloom within. Love her in a way that frees, with trust that opens windows, with belief that amplifies her courage, with loyalty that makes desire feel like devotion. Let me paint a final scene. It's late, the dishes are done. The day tried to take too much from both of you. She's on the couch with a blanket. You are beside her, a little closer than yesterday. You turn off the TV, it's just noise, and ask, "What part of you needs the most gentleness tonight?" She thinks. She tells you. You listen. You place your hand where she says the ache lives, in her story, in her memory, in that part of her that learned to brace. You don't rush. You breathe with her. Long pause. Minutes pass. Something loosens. You didn't fix the world. You tended your world. That is love's quiet revolution. There will be anniversaries and rings and photographs framed in sunlight. I hope you have all of that. But the proof is in the Tuesday mornings and the Friday evenings and the Sunday afternoons where nothing spectacular is happening, except that you are practicing love like a craftsperson, measuring twice, cutting once, sanding the rough edges, oiling the hinges, protecting the grain so it glows. The masterpiece is not a moment, it is the maintenance. So the next time frustration rises like a tide and the old impulse reaches for a sharp word, pause. Choose a different tool. Ask yourself, does this bring us closer? If not, set it down. If yes, use it gently. Be the man whose love pays attention. Be the man who makes home feel like an exhale. Be the man who does not confuse loudness for leadership or a hot apology for a healed pattern. Because in the end, the legacy of a great love is not a highlight reel. It is a nervous system that knows peace, a mouth that instinctively speaks life, hands that have learned the weight of a beloved heart and vowed never to drop it. It is two people who wake up, look at each other, and know we are safe here. That safety breeds courage, and courage makes futures. If you have been blessed with a good woman, treat her like proof that the universe believes you can be trusted with something precious. Earn that belief daily. If you have wounded her, take up the holy work of repair with humility. If you are just beginning, begin with reverence. And if you are alone right now, become the kind of man who will be a shelter when love knocks. The work is worthy either way. So remember, never hurt your girlfriend. Speak in ways that heal, act in ways that build, hold her in ways that free, choose her in ways that prove it. When you love her with everything true in you, you don't just change her life, you change yours. You create a story where both of you can grow tall without casting shadows on each other. You create a love that does not make you smaller to fit, one that expands to hold who you are both becoming. If this touched something in you, say it out loud. Tell her tonight. Don't wait for a better mood or a perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one you decide to use. Pause. And when you do, when you reach across the small distance and close it, you will feel the whole house shift toward grace. Drop a comment if this resonated with you, and follow for more relationship insights. Your relationship deserves to thrive, and it begins with treating her the way she truly deserves, with honor in your words, protection in your actions, and love that proves itself every day.